going to start beeping. Some people will try and shout down, but it will beep from, it'll beep at 10, and then it'll beep from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then give it up. We will try to leave the shout rack on when we can. We don't just take it off, unless it's looking on that, and I'll just copy it. But if you did want it off, it's going to sit like it seems. Yeah. Three, two, one, lag. Tom Cousin wins the lag. Would you like the break?
Yeah.
Frame number 1, Tom Cousins to break, time running.
Good evening and welcome back. Sorry for the extended break. As I said, we weren't really expecting that, but as we mentioned before, the Declan Brennan against Steve Petty game got cut short as Steve was feeling unwell and forfeited. But we are now firmly back with the action with Tom Cousins against Jamie Burnett. What a great matchup this could be. Jamie is an ex-professional snooker player who's turned to the pool table to ply his trade, and he's proven to be very adept with the pool cue. He's taken some pretty big scalps already, and he'll be looking to line up another one in his crosshairs in Tom Cousins. Well, that's not a good start from Tom. Almost certainly wasn't trying to cannon the black. The black went into the left centre, so it's just didn't even want to flirt with it, I don't think, because if he hit it any thinner, he was in danger of potting it into the left centre. So I think that was just an error in judgment. And I'm not sure if he's forced to try and move the black. Nerves are not something that you expect from Tom Cousins, but it is a little bit of an edgy start. He never seems nervous. Never really gives away anything. Impassive look on his face. You can never really tell whether he's angry, upset. Wow. Goodness. Very, very uncharacteristic. Couple of shots there from Tom, but it brings Jamie to the table, and this is not without its problems. Two reds tied up on the left-hand rail. They are going to need some attention. If he can find a way to cannon them, preferably from above. I think he's tried to come down and get an angle on this red. It's one of those I would much prefer to attack this situation from above. If you come into the black, you're almost certainly going to leave yourself a shot with on the two reds. If you come into it from below, the chances are you're just going to sandwich the two reds and release the black. So I'm just kind of surprised that he's not maybe tried to get a better angle on the one in the middle, or even one of the ones near the bulk line to come down and attack it from the top. He's trying to leave an angle, leave it a low angle on the one to left corner. He's finished too straight on it, so yeah, he's looking again at what angle he needs to try and attack that problem. But again, he's trying to get into it from below, and I think it's more likely to go wrong. You see what I mean? If you push one red onto the other, you release the black up table and the reds stay where they are, whereas if you attack them from above, both reds come out. Now he's got an angle he can screw straight back into them. But the problem with this shot is a little bit sort of eggs in one basket. He does have the yellow just below the bulk line, which he would be unlucky not to be on, but if he freezes, yeah, so again looking for a better way to get into these balls. So much movement there, you can see his body rocking backwards and forwards. Noticeable when he played on the main arena table last year. There was a lot of movement through his body. He's going to have to call extension. He did call in extension, but I think there was just a small malfunction, so the clock ended up counting down. There you go. Attack it from above. Just caught the black too thin. Caught the black too thin, which meant he brought the black out. And if he'd had a more solid contact on the black, he would have brought the two reds into play. It's not a disaster. That could be. He's come too far. He's ever hit that by 6 or 8 inches. And now, a very, very tricky little plant. Red ball should naturally, the top red should naturally track over towards the right hand bag, so it shouldn't be a concern. But this is a horrible little plant, easily missable. Played it nicely, and as I say, that red was always going to track over. Unfortunately, the black's just gone below the yellow. I think he's okay though. I think he can just, yeah, play it up screw. He can still see the potting angle. There's enough room between yellow and black, so that's a good start from Jamie. Oh, where's the cue ball? Wow. I heard a tiny groan from him. I think he thought that might be going a little bit close to the top corner bag. But it was safe, and taking advantage of that mistake from Tom. As I say, just seemed uncharacteristically just a little bit edgy during that frame. Maybe just needs a frame or two to settle. I know Tom's been putting in the table time recently. He's got the King of the Hill match coming up soon, so he's been taken to the bays and getting his practice in. The referee is Sam Strachan from the southwest, from the West Country. One of the few referees in the country who know and understand the supreme rules to be able to referee them. It's a small pocket of people at the moment. Hopefully that will expand over time. So a break from Jamie. He finds the ball. It's a little unlucky how you can go through that gap without getting some kind of flick on a red. Any flick on a red, and that yellow would have been right in the game. But it hit the knuckle and it's in no man's land. But everything's tied up here. So results from that 7 o'clock session. Shane Thompson beat Oli Bell. Adam Pemble beat Jason Ellis. John McAllister beat Neil Wren 11-6. Josh Kane beat Josh Juhaz 11-10. Rob Warren beat Gareth Hibbett 11-7. That's a very good win there for Rob Warren. Carl Boy's currently 4-1 up against Johan Attard. Harjeet Singh is 9-7 against Callum Singleton. Jimmy Croxton is on the hill against Liam Dunster. He's 10 frames to 8 ahead. Drew Hughes beat Ben Lewis 11-7. Neil Raybone beat John Cairns 11-3. We knew Jordan Shepherd won 11-1. Darren McVicker beat Jamie Mantle, which lines up a great game between Jordan Shepherd and Darren McVicker at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. So what a game that is. And Christy Caulfield is 10-9 up against Ben Flack. And from this session, Rona McCarthy's 3-0 up against Rich Gifford. Adam Davis 3-2 up against John Rowe. Liam White is 3-2 against Alex Bailey. Craig Waddingham 4-2 up against Sean Story. Craig Marsh 2-1 against Greg Batten. And Lydon De Bono currently 3-0 against Amin Bunif. Of course, those players in the lower half of that draw will have already played once today in the prelim. I think there's about 3 or 4 players who would have played that prelim. Big shot coming here. Needs to get the red out. And needs to release the cue ball. Is he okay? I think... No, I don't think he can get through to the one that's just above the pocket. The one just below the pocket is a very thin snick. And he's got this quite nasty... They're horrible, those shots, aren't they? Just a kind of quarter ball... length of the table. Always tough to pick the potting angle on these. Some of the hardest shots, and there you see. I mean, he's not just missed that by a little bit. He's missed that by a full postcode. It's not often you're going to see Tom Cousins miss a ball by that much. It was a tough shot, but you expect him to get closer. This one's going to be 2-0 very shortly. Wow. Just expected that one to release out of the pocket. So just maybe put a trace aside on it and the ball just straightened a little. It was almost one of those that you felt was, sometimes you play those shots and they just straighten and the cue ball follows the ball straight in. But he's absolutely fine, it's 2-0.
Tom Cousins to break, trading 2 frames to 0, time running.
So,
Extension call.
pressure not quite there on Tom yet, but you won't want to let this lead stretch out too far. Jamie won't make too many mistakes. This is a key frame. He's going yellows. Yellows are a bit of a problem. The yellow just below the red. I think you'll find he's going to play this yellow. He's going to kind of hit it into the knuckle as a knuckle towards the right hand side of the pocket. Just starts to curve in. If he hits it into there, off the back of the red, with enough pace to release the yellow down table. But then he's still got the issue of the other yellow that's tied up with the 2 reds. So as I say, this is not without its problems. And he's already used his extension, and that's going to cost him. He knew he'd use his extension. He heard the beep for the 10 seconds. He didn't need to rush. Didn't need to rush quite as much as he did. He could have taken an extra second there. But as it's happened, with ball in hand, he's pretty much given this frame away. And this could quickly be 3-0. That was an important shot, and it just took a little too long thinking about it, and then he was under pressure to hit it quickly. And it didn't. Just one of those shots that needed some time taken. Jamie knew the cue ball would have been staying at the top of the table there. He was always going to be holding on that yellow, nothing more he could have done, but you can see a lot of movement, can't you? His body his head goes up and down, it goes backwards and forwards. Doesn't affect his cueing in any way, but it's quite unusual. When you see so many players who've got just such a solid stance, you'll see here, you see there's so much movement through his head. But you'll notice that the movement is all through his feathering. When it comes to delivering the cue, he's perfectly still. You can see movement right the way through his forearm. You'd almost think that was off-putting, but as I say, it doesn't affect him because on delivery, he's still. Another solid clearance. It was there. They were all there, but still had to make it. And that's 3-0. And Tom is going to have to wake up fairly soon.
Frame number 4, Burnett's break, leading 3 frames to 0. Time running.
Christy Caulfield against Ben Flack. 10 frames each. Carl Boys is 5-1 up against Johan Attard. Callum Singleton's fought back. He's 9 each against Harjeet Singh. Jimmy Croxton has beaten Liam Dunster 11 frames to 8. That's Liam Dunster in the loser's side. Ronan McCarthy 6-0 against Richard Gifford. The Gloucester man not faring too well. Jamie Burnett, just about to read this scoreline out. Sean Chipperfield 1 each against Dom Cooney. Adam Davis 5-3 against John Rowe. Liam White 4-2 against Alex Bailey. Craig Waddingham 6-4 against Sean Story. Greg Batten 3-2 against Craig Marsh. And Leiden de Bono 3-2 against Amin Benouf. See some of Tom's fans in the background. You know, Shane Thompson has just beaten Oli Bell. It's just to the right of your screen. Next to him was Ian Smith. Ian probably the most travelled man in the country when it comes to playing pool and watching pool. I don't know anybody that would do more miles than him to go and spectate. And he got a little stable of players that he backs and ferries around. He must do 20,000 miles a year associated with pool. Absolutely loves the game. And he's got a great memory for it as well. He's watched hundreds of money matches over the years. It's like an oracle. It's going to be a tough shot here. He's going to have to get some action on this red. Not far enough. Need to come another 18 inches. Need to hit another rail and back out to give himself a shot to middle. Now looking to play it off the yellow, but you think that that's probably a 1 in 10 at best. And that's being generous. Ooh, a little bit more pace. It was on route. What a great shot that is. Judged to perfection. Twice across the table to land perfectly on the black and taking advantage of every mistake from Tom. And Tom was just getting worse and worse. His positional play in that frame was just not what you expect from Tom. He nearly missed the one to top left corner. Then he hit the knuckle on the one to middle, which meant that he finished lower than he wanted to, and he had to cut the yellow to bottom right. Missed it, and it's cost him the frame.
Tom Cousins to break, trailing 4 frames to 0, time running. Yellow's in play.
Didn't want to finish straight and didn't. Just giving it a concerned look for a second. It's bounced out nicely. Just enough angle to bring the cue ball out into open play. Didn't need to try and do too much and get too close. And compromise the ball along the rail. Again, cued that one. And timed it so well, he's probably come back 3 or 4 inches further than he wanted to. If he was dead straight, he could just run the cue ball straight across, but I think he can just screw below the red and leave himself, yeah, leave himself a half ball black to top left. No drama whatsoever. Apart from the yellow did just poke its head out of the pocket as it dropped in. Poke back out again. 5-0. Goodness me. Goodness me.
Burnett to break, leading 5 frames to 0, time running.
Wow. Another dry one. And this time from Jamie. And we say it so often, but must-win frame, it goes without saying. So, in fairness, Tom hasn't done a massive amount wrong the first frame. He's just ran out of position a little. And throwing a dry break in there. Jamie's played really well to this point. But, this was a dry break from Jamie. And you can't give Tom a sniff. He's now 5-1, he's going to be breaking in the next.
Frame.
Referee Sam calls frame. Let's have a look at the other scores around the arena. There's a lot of games currently ongoing. Carl Boys is 7-2 up against Johan Attard. Scott Gillespie's just started against Brian Halco. It's 1 each. Ronan McCarthy 8-0 against Rich Gifford. Sean Chipperfield is 2-1 up against Dom Cooney. Adam Davis is 6-4 against John Rowe. Liam White 7-2 against Alex Bailey. Craig Waddingham against Sean Story 6 each. Craig Marsh 6-3 against Greg Batten. And Leiden de Bono 5-2 against Amin Bounif. Sorry, I almost said that. Amin Bounif.
Tom Cousins to break, trailing 5 frames to 1, time running.
How has he gone dry there? I mean, that's just beyond belief how you go dry there. Goodness. I mean, you can hear the power in that break, the timing, absolutely crunched it.
Extension call.
He's got to think here about the pattern. It's going to go reds. Just looking at the one over the pocket first. The thing is, everything else is just a bit nasty. He's got this thin cut to middle. But he's going to be running into balls. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. He judged it well. Knew he was going to cannon that red. I think he's just asked for the rest. As a snooker player, he'll be very adept in playing with the rest. You can see him putting left hand side on this. He's going to try and just, yeah, come through the gap for the red into right corner. Judge that really well. He's playing very nicely. Tom without a chance here. And at 6-1, I mean, you can never write off Tom Cousins, but the way Jamie's playing, you feel that this is already becoming an unassailable lead. And he's making fairly light work of this clearance. Just needs to stun down that left-hand side rail. Just leave himself high on the red to right middle. He needs that to stop. That's fine. That's perfect. I think he's just going to keep it simple here. He's got a couple of options. He could play it a couple of different ways. I think think he's got the angle that he could come down to bottom cushion and play it from below the yellows, but I think he's just going to keep it simple. Just drop the cue ball through 6 inches and leave himself the thin clip into middle. Just needs to consider the black. I think he just probably hold, maybe even flick the back of the yellow. He just ran into the one just below. That's perfect. Nice. 6-1 from that dry break from Tom, and he has to get things going very quickly, or there's going to be one very happy bookie, because I think most people seeing Tom Cousins at 1-2 had them in their betting slip. Don't forget that Jed Ronan is here this weekend. If you can make it tomorrow, then do please come and join us. We'd love to see you here. Come and watch the action in this main arena, and the bookie's back, and back with a vengeance. He can only take bets at the venue. He can't take any bets online, and he has to be very strict with that. So
Burnett to break, leading 6 frames to 1, time running.
There's things like that that's going to let Tom back into the door. If he is to come back into this game, it will be from little mistakes like that from Jamie. And that was a mistake. He screwed it straight in off. Oh, wow. He's blaming a kick. It's fallen in anyway. But, just not happening here for him, is it? He was trying to finish the cue ball a few inches higher so he could just play the cannon onto the ball that's tied up by the red. Jeez. Oh, where's the cue ball? He's in off. Wow. Just not happening for him. This is disastrous. It's the only way you can describe it. It's just not turned up as yet. It's a good shot. Not quite sure what he's going to do here. He's had a favourable kiss, but still not working out for him. Does that yellow even pass the other yellow? My instincts say it probably does, but how can he get around to land on the other problem yellow? He's going to have to pull something out of the bag here. Double it is. This is a huge shot. It really is a huge shot. Get the double, and you go 6-2, and you can consider yourself in the game. Miss it at 7-1, I fear he's going to be out of the winner's side and playing in the loser's side tomorrow. Massive shot. Nope. Just not happening for him. And he's left absolute dollies for Jamie. Little stun run through. Playing this to top through, just a stun across actually for the one. Maybe try to get further across. Yeah, he was trying to get further across, just a few inches, but he's okay. Oh no. Another one he's missed. There's some odd misses in this game. Misses you wouldn't expect. From both players. Tom needs to settle. And shots like that will definitely help him settle. He didn't want to play that as just a half-paced ball. He wanted to let the cue go. And that just tells you how much tension is there in that back arm. Because if Tom Cousins was playing at the top of his game, he would have potted that and just played off two cushions to leave the cue ball for the middle, but he's powered it into the bottom corner and come around. All the way around the world to leave himself the black in the right centre. It's 6-2. Still in with a hope, but he just doesn't look settled at all.
Cousins to break, trailing 6 frames to 2, time running.
Tom's break, needs to get it working. My God. How much power has gone into that? And he has not made a ball. He's gone dry again. They're just not coming out for him at all. How much power has gone into that break? That is brutal. Cue ball's gone 18 inches up in the air. Such power and timing. But he can't buy a ball at the moment. Wow.
Red's in play.
He's played to come around 2 cushions and come into the pack and move the red that's at the top of the pack. But he's come through the gap. A little bit of no man's land. Got a very nasty little thin clip up the left hand side. And not much else really. This table just doesn't look very appealing at all.
Extension call. Yellow's in play.
Left it till the last knockings. Another big frame, another big shot coming.
Timeout, please.
And it's asked referee to remove the triangle. Some players don't like playing over the top of it, other players don't care. The kind of shot that Tom's going to play now, it would be irrelevant because he's going to play with a bit of pace, so nothing's going to divert. He could easily play across the top of it, but as I say, some players just prefer not to. That's fine. Just remove the ball, take the rack off, and away we go. Good job.
Time running.
Needs this to come out. Needs just a touch of luck here. I think he's okay. He's left a little plant. Just a slightly off straight plant to bottom left. And left a lovely angle. So you can pop the yellow to bottom left. Touch of right hand side on the cue ball just to drift up that left hand side rail. He's under hit that by some margin. I mean, you heard him just half a little as he played the shot. I mean, I don't know whether I'm being unfair there. Maybe he got a kick. Maybe he just got a bad bounce. But it's one of those, isn't it? When you play it with left hand side, the ball does check. So you have to play it with more pace just to judge it. Playing it with check side. It does just stop the ball. Thin cut. Thin cut to middle. And the cue ball is going to be flying unless he can play a double. Oh my goodness, there was a gap. How's he found that gap? I can't believe that was there. For the life of me, it didn't look like that gap was there. There was me talking about how he's in trouble, and there was a gap. It's amazing how the camera angle foreshortens. Now then, scores on the doors. Carl Boys 8-5. Scott Gillespie 3-1. Ronan McCarthy 10-1 against Rich Gifford. Sean Chipperfield 4-3 against Dom Cooney. Adam Davis 6-all against John Rowe. Ding dong battle going on there between two EPA world champions, two previous EPA world champions. John Rowe in 2012, Adam Davis. Well, what year was Adam Davis? Yeah, 2008. I think it was 2008. Liam White 9-3 against Alex Bailey. Sean Story 8-6 against Wad. Craig Marsh 7-4 and in fine form, having been 5-0 down earlier in his opening game. He's flying back. Leiden de Bono leading Amin Benif 8-4. 2011. Paul's just had a look. There you go. Oh, we were only a few years out. I blame Paul for that one. My instinct was saying 2011. I don't know why, but I didn't have a clue. And then Paul said 2008, so it's all his fault. So they were basically back-to-back winners, one in 2011, one in 2012. So it's hardly surprising that there's not much between them on the bays. They're 6 apiece. Jamie, big break coming up. See Ian Smith willing on Tom Cousins in the background. Big break, big break. Finds a ball to middle. Yellows look okay. Just that one ball just this side of the bulk line may cause a bit of an issue. Shouldn't. He's got the ball near the middle to get on it. Well, just see the movement now. Look at the movement through his head. It goes up and down, backwards and forwards. But on release, he's steady. He's left the double. He's left the double. What a big shot this is. Misses double. And 6-3 suddenly becomes 6-4. Get it. And you re-establish a 4-frame lead at 7-3. He's not going to take it. He's going to take the long one. I'm sure the way he played that, he was leaving the double. Didn't want to kiss. Just running out of position. Didn't want to kiss. He wanted to be another 3-4 inches higher. This is more angle than he wants. I wonder if that ball on that right-hand side rail will come back to haunt him. It's the ball that we picked out. This is perfect. Pinpoint perfect. Couldn't have placed that much better by hand. Right in the gap. Travel 3 inches less or 3 inches more and you don't have a shot. You see Jamie was quite happy to play across the rack on the previous shot because he was punching the ball. But quite rightly moving it now because his hand's going to be fairly close to where the rack would have been, so I think it's just about being practical. Well, is this... Oh, it's getting straight down on it, so I imagine it's what he must have played. This needs some cueing. Needs to time this perfectly. Oh. Just for a split second. You thought that could have gone wrong. Can't do much with the cue ball here. He's left it dead straight. Just slightly low of straight. So he might be able to top through. Yeah, played that really nicely. Simple black. To re-establish that full frame cushion. 7 frames to 4. Sorry, 7 frames to 3. See on the right hand side of your screen in the blue shirt there, that's Christy Goldfield. He's off the back of that hill game that he was playing. I didn't catch who won it, so we'll have a quick look. He played a hill game against Ben Flack, and Ben won the deciding frame. So he wins 11-10. Ronan McCarthy's through against Richard Gifford, 11-2. That's another dry break. He's not a lot good here if he's straight. It's got an angle. It's got a bit of an angle. But to get up table, he's going to have to force it. And you can see him loading up with lots and lots of right-hand side. And it went cushion first. And that little flick on the yellow, I think, has put him in very good shape here. So he's going to play the red to right centre, and you could see him just queuing next to the black. So he'll be aiming to cannon into the black. Perfect. That's exactly where he had his cue a second ago. Precisely where he wanted to be. A little bit of screw. Touch aside just to bring the cue ball out. And this is very good from Jamie Burnett. It's not happening for Tom. Oh my goodness me. Wow. That is quite shocking. Simply a half ball cut, and he'll know how big that shot is. 8-3. There's absolutely no way back for Tom. But he's given him a sniff here. Nothing straightforward with balls tied up on the side rail. A little bit surprised there. I don't want to question Tom, but would have thought maybe there was a bit more value in clipping off one of the yellows on the right-hand side and just trying to cover in behind that that melee of balls at the top of the table, just to move one of the yellows. He's going to have to move at some point, so why not then? He obviously saw it differently. Trouble is, the way the black's positioned, and with Jamie's background as a snooker player, it's going to be very, very difficult for Tom to get a foul. He's going to struggle to draw a foul. So I think he's going to have to go for it. It's a good opening pot. He's going to play the double. I think that's a shot. Double the top, one of the two yellows, and leave yourself on the one down the rail. Just depends on whether he's got the angle. If he's got the perfect angle, he'll play it now. If he doesn't, he'll have to come back for it. He's looking up table. He doesn't like the double. Maybe just finished a fraction low. Probably leave it till last now. But that will depend on him getting on it perfectly. Moved it. Great shot. Great shot. It's come out. Perfect. Couldn't have been any better. And it showed a real high level of skill as well, playing that shot, because he played it at the perfect pace, knowing he didn't have to clatter into it, controlled. This is a nice clearance, but my goodness, Jamie should have won this frame. Missed a half ball black and has let Tom in. And could this be the momentum swing in the game? Tom should be out of this somehow. He's still in it, but he has to get his break going. Otherwise he's in major trouble. Carboy's 9-7 now against Johan Attard. Scott Gillespie stretching a lead now. It was 3-2, it's now 5-2. Chippy just one frame up against Dom Cooney, but Dom's still in that match. John Rowe has just gone 8-6 against Adam Davis. He's won the next 2 frames. And you just saw Adam Davis score go up another one. That's a ding-dong battle. Liam White 9-3 against Alex Bailey. Sean Story 9-7 against Craig Waddingham. And Craig Marsh is 8-6 against Greg Batten. And Leiden de Bono 9-4 against Amin Benif. Well, it's dry time for Jamie. They're taking it in turns to trade dry breaks. See, there was a big argument going on the other day about the shark rack and the shark rack making the game too easy and too open and guaranteeing balls every break. I would argue a lot of dry breaks in this one so far, and look at the clusters. Every frame there's little clusters that the players have got to deal with. People say it's a dish fest. Break dish after break dish. In fairness, we've seen break dish after break dish without the use of the shark rack. I think we witnessed a game at Savannah one day where there was something like 17 breaking dishes in about 19 frames. Mark Throssell against Tom Cousins. Mark Throssell lost 10-9 and missed 1 ball all match. Brilliant game. So Tom just playing a little containing shot, leaving Jamie no attacking options and just developing a couple of the yellows at the same time. Just going to step away for a quick bathroom break. We'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes.
Frame number 14, Jamie Burnett to break, leading 7 frames to 6, time running.
Another massive break. Oh, he's not timed that at all. Oh, he's found a ball though. He's found a ball. One of the last balls moving. And it shows you don't need massive power. I say he didn't time it. He actually took quite a bit off of the break. So he did time it fairly well, but it was only like about 60% power. First instinct says, what? Reds? Feels like reds. Or does it? Yeah, I think so.
Extension called.
There's too many options on reds, isn't there? Maybe for me, I think I'd play the one to middle, and then to right middle, and then my next ball would be the one closest to the right-hand side cushion, just to get that out of the way. And then leave the cue ball where that red is and play the plant red onto red into left centre. That opens everything up. Yeah, I like that as an opener. I say just drop this one in. That's exactly what he's done. Oh. Just a tiny bit more pace. So he didn't play the plant as suggested, but that red doesn't go into bottom right, so that could come back and present itself as a bit of a problem. Should still be okay. So red to middle. And then the way he's played that, it looks like he's going to take the one up the cushion to top left. He's still got to come back down and negotiate these ones at the bottom of the table. And any time you've got to travel 4 or 5 foot for position, then this needs to be accurate. He's played these shots well though so far. He's got a nice margin of error. He's got a nice angle. Just drift it down towards that middle bag between red and black. He's come too far. Has he got away with it? He's come probably 9 inches too far. But he's got away with it. He's got a thin snick into left middle, and the cue ball's going to be travelling. That's the only thing. You can try and hold. On one of the yellows. This could go wrong. Wow, is he okay? I think he is, you know. I think that he's controlled that really well. I think that red passes to middle. He's having a close look at it, and he doesn't look at all concerned, so I'm fairly sure it does. And it must do. That was a really well controlled shot. And stops the rot, and it's now 8 frames to 6 in favour of Jamie. But Tom's right back in this match.
Frame number 15, Tom Cousins to break, trailing 8 frames to 6, time running.
Well, I'm not sure where Tom's break has been taking a vacation, but it looks like it's come home, and he's finally found it. Because after a barren spell, he pots the ball, and what a different game it looks when you can pot off the break. Now, you can make a case for both balls. I think yellow's possibly, I mean, reds are a slightly better layout, but obviously you've got the red tied up to the left of the black, whereas yellows all have a pocket. I think it has to be yellows. Oh, that's not what he tried to do. But at the same time, he definitely didn't want to pot that yellow to bottom right. But equally, he's underhit that by a margin anyway, because he wasn't playing to try and land on that one. He was trying to play, I think, to land on the one just below the black. He seems to have struggled a little bit with the pace of the table in some parts of this match. He has been tinkering with his cue recently. He's got a new ferrule on there. And I think it's just a fraction shorter than the old one. It's amazing because as a club player, you wouldn't think that would make any difference whatsoever. As a club player, for someone like me, you put a new tip on there, you put a new ferrule on there, it's going to make no difference whatsoever. But these guys are playing to such fine margins, just a millimetre difference. It's going to change the striking point when he's cueing the ball, and it does make all the difference. He needs to find something now. Don't think he can get to the potting angle of the one below the black. He's called extension, I think, but he hasn't got one. He's going to have to play this quickly. He could just get through to the potting angle, but he's come up short again. Does that yellow pass? Maybe it does. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice there, because if it passes, he's absolutely plumb. I think it may, you know. We already know there's, well, there we are. He's giving this a real close look. A 10-second counter again. I notice any time, wow, he's missed that by a margin. And I was just about to say that any time that Tom's under any kind of time pressure, I've noticed this not just in this match, he's made a couple of mistakes in this match when he's been against the clock, but he's done it in previous matches as well. Any time that there is pressure there with that clock, then he does tend to make a mistake. And, well, this is a key frame, and this is huge. And these left drop-ins. How big is that mistake going to be in the context of the game? That could well be the difference. Where's the cue ball going here? Now then. Oh, there's a little shake of the head. Don't think he's over the moon about this one. Can he get through to the one just above the bulk line? If he can, he's in all kinds of trouble. don't think he can either. It's causes extension. There is a screen in the arena which tells the players whether they have got an extension or not. Well, he may just be able to turn this over. I don't know if he's just applying a touch aside. No. No, he couldn't. Mistakes from both players in this frame. And you feel that this is the key to the game to both players. If Jamie could have cleared that, it's going to be very difficult for Tom to come back. If Tom can win, you'd almost make him favourite. Oh my goodness me. That was a huge mistake there from Tom. I'm not quite sure what. I mean, he's obviously just overcut it, but neither player wanted this one. He left a good angle. Nailed it. Well, we said how important it was for both players, and at 9-6, you'd make Jamie a firm favourite. I think at 8-7, you'd have made Tom the favourite. That was the key to the game there for me. You see the band of rogues lining the back row. Shane Thompson watching his mate. Young Keir Monaghan stood to the right of him. David Kirkpatrick watching on. See in the background by table 5, Ronan McCarthy stood chewing the cud, possibly with Declan. Two good friends, Ronan McCarthy, Declan Brennan. One is very much the mentor to the other. And this is why the last frame was so important, because it just gives Jamie that spring in his step, and now making a ball from this break. No, that little nudge on the yellow has just pushed it into a position where it won't pop into bottom right. It will still go bottom left. But I wonder if that'll just come back and cause him a problem. He could pot it now, but he'll be running into the other yellow, and I just don't think he wants to.
Extension call.
Just taking his time over this. Important shot coming up. He may just try and punch it across a little further. He's going to have to come back and deal with that later. It will go to right centre, and right centre is a big pocket. As I say, it shouldn't be a problem. It's just those little things that sometimes can come back and haunt you later in the frame. Now he needs to time this well, because he needs to travel 7 foot down the table. He needs to be below the black, and he's played that very nicely. Cueing the ball well. Yeah. He's absolutely fine, because it's right across the face of the red. As I say, that ball never should have been a problem, but sometimes they can come back to haunt. That was not the simplest of clearances. He had to put in some miles with the cue ball. Fair bit of distance to cover. But, he played it well. Referee calls frame, and now it's a 4-frame advantage, and you feel that it could be game over for Tom. He's going to have a very, very big effort to come back from this one. He needs some luck and a little bit of help. And you only see 4 games in play now. Scott Gillespie 7-4 against Brian Halcrow. Sean Chipperfield now trailing against Dom Cooney. He's been ahead all the time in that game. Still nothing between Adam Davis and John Rowe. John Rowe was 9-7. Adam Davis won the next 2.
Frame number 17, Tom Cousins to break, trailing 10 frames to 6. Time running.
So Roland McCarthy went through 11-2. Liam White beat Alex Bailey 11-4. Sean Story beat Craig Waddingham 11-8. Craig Marsh beat Greg Batten 11-7. Leiden de Bono beat Amin Bunith 11-6. So just those 4 games remaining. And again, we go back to that point where Tom could have won that frame to go 8-7, and then the pressure can do such drastic things to a player. Would Jamie have then gone to break and dish the next frame? momentum just carries you through frame after frame, and those little mistakes can just change the whole context of a match. So there's another very strange miss from Jamie. And has he got away with that? Is everything covering? I think the yellow in the middle of those, yeah, that little cluster, I think it goes to bottom left. He's got the thin cut to top right. The one next to the black will also go to bottom right, so I think he's got a few options, but just nothing straightforward. And he uses that extension early in the frame, and you can tell it bugs him. He doesn't want to be put off. He doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be rushed. And quite often uses that extension early doors. Pots 2, no problem at all. This is all about how he gets on the one close to the left rail. I think he's going to drop the one into bottom left and then just finish slightly high. Now he's come across the other side. It's higher than he wanted to be. It's not ideal. Now I think he's going to have to leave that yellow on the left-hand side rail till last. He's going to play the one along the bottom cushion. He's fairly naturally going to come up table. He put a little bit of left-hand side just to hit the side rail and just kill the cue ball. The match length just coming up to 2 hours. Oh, that's, whoa. I'm a bit miffed there. I'm not quite sure why he felt he needed to play it off the red. That could have so easily gone wrong. The red and white came out together. And maybe he just felt that he couldn't get an angle on the one that he's playing now to get out for the one down the rail. That's all I can imagine, is that he must have thought he couldn't quite get the angle. And even now he's just slightly hampered. Should be okay. You can see he's just having to twist his hand there slightly. And then again, those things can just affect your shot. Needs to cue this well. That's a nice shot. And he just looks so relaxed. Never anything but just relaxed. You'll never get a read off the guy. He should play poker. You saw one of the games swiftly disappear out of sight, and that was Adam Davis against John Rowe. Adam has won that game 11 frames to 9. And just for the conclusion of this game, I'm joined on commentary by Ian Smith. He's a good friend of Tom's. Ian, can he come back here?
That's a big break from Jamie. as long as he's on something which it looks like he's on red to left centre, it should be a shell and peas job really from here.
Yeah. Yeah, you
could go yellows, but doesn't need to.
No. Yeah, you've got to fear the worst here. It's going to take a kick or a massive mistake for him to miss from here. As you say, that was a big break. But, Tom, just not his usual self during this one.
No, it's easy to make excuses. I think perhaps the cue has bothered him a little bit, the change of ferrule, but ultimately he's just not fired tonight, I think, really, and got off to a bad start against a very good player.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very difficult to get it back at this level.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamie's not the kind of player you can let have a 5 start in a race to 11. He's just high quality. And talking to Jamie, I mean, he's really hit the scene running, hasn't he? He's only been playing pool for a short period of time, and the first we saw of him was in the opening event this year, and then of course he's played some of the Murphy series as well.
Yeah,
and, he's had some great results.
He has, and you feel he's not far away from a very, very deep run in one of these competitions.
Yep.
And who knows, it could be this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't gain confidence from beating a 2-time world champion in your first match, then where can you?
Absolutely, yeah. And he looks like he's just administering the final rites.
Yeah, just a stun back, a screw back here.
Yeah. Well, that was short and swift, Ian. We were hoping that you'd have you in for a few frames there, maybe see a hill thriller, but a nice little break and dish there from Jamie at the end.
And a thoroughly deserved win. I think he's been the better player throughout.
Yeah.
I think Tom had moments during the game where he could have come back, but crucial mistakes at crucial times. I think the plant he missed that would have taken it to 8-7 was massive.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
You know, and from there, 8-7, 9-6, it's too big.
Yeah. So we're gonna head across to the interview room in just a couple of minutes, and we'll grab Jamie and catch a few words with him. Thanks for joining us, Ian. Even though it was a swift one, I know you're here tomorrow. Come back and join us, and we'll have a good chat.
Love to.
See you soon.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're going to head across to the interview room with Jamie. We'll see you there in just a couple of minutes. So I'm joined by Jamie off the back of that win. Jamie, I mean, you've just taken out one of the top seeds there. Give us your thoughts on that game.
To be fair, it wasn't that I didn't outplay him or anything like that. You know, that was a case of Tom struggling. You know, he was unlucky off the break. I was talking to him before the game, and I know he's had problems with his cue, his ferals, his cue split last week. So, you know, he's come in there and he's not really confident. You know, something's in your head like that. You struggle. You know, when you could see he was lacking confidence. But I've not played since I played once since the last Supreme Series. So I thought, you know, hopefully I'll get a sort of quite a nice wee easy game to start. You know what I mean? I thought sort of try and play my way into the tournament. Then Scott Gillespie told me that I had to get Tom. I thought maybe just leave it to the next one. You know what I mean? I thought there's no point in me going down to play Tom Cousins having not played. I thought I'm going to need to get lucky. I'm going to need some help for Tom. But you know, he was unlucky. That's the second time I've played him. He's been unlucky off the break. And you know what his break's like? It's massive. When he gets balls off the break, sometimes he's unplayable. That's
business as usual, though, isn't it? I mean, you beat him the last time you played him as well, didn't you?
Well, you can't always, you know, sort of play your best. The last time I played better. That one I struggled a bit. Like I say, you know, I wasn't confident. You know, I was struggling playing the shots beside. I struggled with the table.
Yeah.
You know, my timing was a way off. You know, if it was easy, you know, I was still, you know, I wasn't sure. But you know, you can't always win playing your best. You just got to dig in and just take it as it comes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably doing yourself down a little bit. I think that was a good performance. There was a couple of mistakes in the middle, but generally, you've got to take a lot of confidence from that win.
Yeah, listen, I'm still in. You know, I beat one of the best players in the world. Yeah. Everybody knows Tom Cousins. Everybody knows how good a player he is. Yeah. You know, I was just sort of a bit fortunate that he struggled there, because if he plays well there, he's beating me. Do you know what I mean? I missed a couple of balls, and you know, he very rarely misses at all. Yeah. But you know, it was still a wee bit of the tail as well. A couple of times I rolled a couple of balls, he rolled off, and Tom got a bad ball off as well to go within one frame. I think if he gets close to me there, I think he wins the game. Do you know what I mean? But it rolled off. It was a massive frame.
Key frame there. He had a couple of chances to go 8-7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, that's sort of one shot. I mean, you can't say one shot changed the game in the first 11, but it certainly didn't help him. That was. He had the momentum, he was coming back, I wasn't feeling good, and then that roll off, it cost him.
Yeah. Obviously famously transitioned across from snooker. I mean, how are you finding that transition?
Mate, I love the pool, I really do. I enjoy it. You know, I mean, I certainly don't play as much as I should. If you want to compete with the top players and win tournaments, you need to be playing, you need to be practicing, but it's a learning process, you know what I mean, and you know, I enjoy, you know, this setup. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to learn playing guys like Tom, you know, I mean, guys that are better. I mean, that's how you learn it in sport. You play the best players. So, you know, I'll just look forward to the next match.
But you're continuously taking sculpts, and you're knocking on the door. I mean, in my opinion, it's just a matter of time before you win one of these.
Well, listen, it's easy to say that. You know, I think there's a lot of guys down here. When I watch them playing, I think he's got to win a turn. He's got to win a turn. He's got to win a turn. The standard's incredible. It really is. I mean, like we spoke about before, some guys for a snooker background, maybe no respect the sport, say pulls easy, pulls this, pulls that. You don't see them playing in these tournaments. These guys that you don't see, the guys that I'm not talking about Mick Hill or Tom Cousins or Matt Farnsworth. I'm not talking about the top guys. I'm talking about the guys that are, you know, I don't want to say way down the list, but the guys that don't get mentioned, they're going to beat snooker players every day of the week. You know what I mean? They really are. Do you know what I mean? It's not that easy. You know what I mean? And you know, like I say, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we love having you. It's great. Brilliant.
That's good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Best luck for the rest of the tournament, Jamie.
Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's the end of the close of the action for today. We're going to be back with a game. I think Jake McCartney's playing against Jez Graham on the loser's side at midday tomorrow. So we're just going to have a one-off game at midday and then back with the action again at 1:30. So we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Sleep well.